Hi everyone, it's John from What Up. Welcome back to another video, and today we're talking castings. Yes, happy Wheel of Time Wednesday. The official Prime account has dropped 5 brand new castings this morning, and by this point, it's probably everywhere. There's articles all over the place about these actors and actresses and what they're going to play in the 3rd season of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show. So if you like Wheel of Time, if you like fantasy, if you're as excited about the 3rd season as I am, consider making us your home for Wheel of Time news. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course, tell 2 of your friends, because if we can hit 25,000 subscribers prior to Season 3 releasing, give away a couple of these hoodies for you folks. Let's face it, I'll probably give them away anyway, but that's my goal. Let's see if we can hit 25,000 before Season 3. Now, there are 5 castings to get through today, and we're going to talk about them in 2 separate parts. First half of the video, completely spoiler-free. I'm only going to talk about what's in the press release. Second half of the video, we're going to dive into the characters because there's some stuff in there that if you've read the books, you have questions about. I know I do, and we're going to talk about that in the second half. So of these 5 castings, we're going to start with my favorite character of the 5 castings, my second favorite character in the entire series, and one that's already well known to the fandom because, well, if you've watched the channel, if you've been a subscriber for a while, you've probably seen her face pop up here before, and that's because I dropped her casting last year. I did leak it, in fact. This is Isabella Bucceri, an Australian actress who's recently moved to the UK. And when I did drop her casting last year, she didn't have many credits to her name. She's a fairly new actress, but right now you've probably seen her in a couple of different things. Finally Me, Everything in Between, and Threshold are all feature films that she's starred in, and she's going to be playing our Faile Basher. I'm pretty excited about that. Because Faile is my second favorite character in the entire series, and I can't wait to see how she does it on screen. We did get to see a brief glimpse of her in the teaser trailer, which was pretty cool. She was in behind Perrin when Perrin was in the Two Rivers, kind of brandishing his axe, like throwing some knives, and we got to see her kind of jumping up and hugging and kissing Perrin as well. So I'm thrilled to be able to see the 2 of them together on screen. Now, the press release says Faile Basher is a Saldean hunter of the Horn whose efforts to locate a treasured relic have led her to the Two Rivers. Right, so that's Faile Basher, played by Isabella Bucceri. Again, we'll jump into more of this in the spoiler section of the video. The next actress we're going to talk about is Nukâka Coster-Waldau. Now, again, I probably am going to mispronounce some of these names. I'm pretty well known for mispronouncing things. I'm terrible at language, especially my own English. So if I do that, I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing some things. She is going to play the eldest wise one, Bair. Now, the most respected member of the Taardad clan, her authority and wisdom are held in higher regard even than that of the clan chief. Along with being able to channel the One Power, she has access to an even more mystical ability. Pretty neat. I think I know what that is, and we'll talk about that again in the second half of the video. But this actress is a Danish Greenlandic actress born in Greenland, and she starred in the thriller series Thin Ice. And she is not just an actress; she is a writer, a director, she did a lot of stage work. She does dancing. She's a singer. She does it all. She is 100%. Fully immersed in the culture of entertainment, as far as I'm concerned. And she did graduate from the Danish National School of Performing Arts in 2006. So she not only is an actress, singer, writer, dancer, all of those things, but she is a professional trained actress as well, and has done a ton of stage work as well as both film and TV. So she has a lot on her resume, and I think she's going to make an excellent addition to the cast. It's one of the wise ones. I, for one, am pretty excited to see her. All right, next up we have Salóme Gunnarsdóttir. She is an Icelandic actress, and she's going to be playing Melanie, a wise one of the Taardad Aiel. Now, she's unable to channel, however, she has access to a more mystical ability, according to the press release, and that's kind of exciting, but we'll talk about that again in the spoiler section of the video. Now, Salóme has been in a ton of different things. She has been in film, television, theater, but you probably recognize her from a bunch of things she's done recently. She's been in the Lazarus Project, The Reunion, which is kind of wild that this press release dropped right now because I watched the Reunion like a couple of hours ago with my wife, which is kind of crazy. Nightfall, Pennyworth, she's been in a ton of different things, and she's an absolutely wonderful actress, and I think she's going to bring a lot of sort of presence to the role of a wise one on screen, and I, for one, am very excited to see how she does her own take on Melanie for the 3rd season. Now, this next actor we're going to talk about here is already well known to the fandom, and in fact, I would say that a lot of the people we talked about today are kind of known to the fandom if you follow WhatSeries.com, because they've released a lot of these actors and actresses, but they haven't released the roles because they didn't know them. So this particular gentleman. He has been talked about in the fandom for a while, and almost everyone had him pegged as Asmodean because he is a German pop singer. And not only is he a German pop singer, he's an actor. That's Björn Landberg. Now, Björn Landberg became Björn Landberg. He sort of created that persona, the stage persona, in 2015, and has released a ton of different pop albums since then. But then he decided he wanted to be a professional actor as well. So he studied at the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute in New York, and then went back to Germany and immediately starred in a Disney production and got to play Gaston. He then played Kerchak, which is a second Disney character for the production of Tarzan in Hamburg, and he's done some other film and television as well, and some other stage acting, while still releasing all of his pop albums. So everyone thought he was Asmodean because he's a singer. He is going to be playing, as far as I'm concerned, the clan chief, Rhuarc. Now, Rhuarc, according to the press release, is the well-respected clan chief of the Taardad Aiel, and having passed the trial of Rhuarc and become chief, he is one of the few Aiel who knows what lies within the fog, though he is forbidden to speak of it. Let's face it, folks, Rhuarc is a fan favorite. People have been talking about that character for quite some time, and they've been wondering who's going to play him. He's been here in front of our faces the whole time. We've known about this character, this actor, rather, for quite some time, but everyone had him pegged as Asmodean because he's a pop singer. Well, looks like Rhuarc can sing, and I, for one, am very excited to see how he brings Rhuarc to life on screen for the third season. Again, we're talking about this a bit more in the spoiler section of the video. Now, finally, the last casting that was released today is this actress, Synnøve Macody Lund. Now, again, I probably mispronounced that, and I do apologize if I did, but she's going to play Melindra. Now, Melindra is a bit different than what you expect. The press release describes her as a Malkieri survivor who's taken in and raised by the Taardad Aiel. We're going to talk about that in the spoiler section, 100%. This actress is a Norwegian actress, director, and journalist. She's done a ton of different things. She debuted acting in 2011, and she did a ton of different things that you've probably seen, like The Girl in the Spider's Web, Riviera. She was in Ragnarok. I mean, if you haven't seen Ragnarok, go see Ragnarok. It's a fantastic series on Netflix. And she's done a ton of different things, including the most recent Saw film, Saw X. She's been in a lot of things, and she's an absolutely amazing actress. She's also, I think, a perfect fit for an Aiel. I think when Want series kind of knew she was been cast in the show, they kind of pegged her as an Aiel, and she's an Aiel by choice in the show, but she definitely, I think, does fit in very well with the rest of the cast members that are Aiel. So, again, this is the spoiler-free section of the video. These are the 5 castings that got released this morning. I, for one, couldn't believe the hype is greater, and I want to really talk about some of this stuff in the spoiler section of the video. So if you haven't read the books... All right, folks, so spoilers up to and including Book 5, that's the Fires of Heaven of the Wheel of Time series written by Robert Jordan. If you haven't read the books, you haven't seen the show, we're going to spoil things from this point on. I think at this point, most of you who are subscribed to the channel know we're going to spoil stuff and you don't care. But for those of you who may be new, and I hope some of you are, if you don't like spoilers, now's the time to dip it. So we're going to walk through each of these characters and what's said in the press release versus what is in the books, and we're going to talk about the differences. So Faile. Now, Faile in the book series is my second favorite character. In fact, Faile and Perrin are my favorite couple. Promise to tell you why, and a lot of people have asked this. It's because I like things that are messy. I don't like reading perfect stories about perfect people who do perfect things. That's boring as shit. I don't like that at all. I like things that are messy, a little bit more true to the world, because in the real world, nothing's perfect. A lot of bad things happen, and a lot of stuff is kind of messed up, and nothing is amazing all the time. And Faile and Perrin's relationship, to me, is one of the more real relationships in the books. It's not a fairy tale relationship. They're not totally immersively in love all of the time. They don't act perfect all of the time. They fight, they bicker, they argue. Perrin has the one-up on Faile due to the fact that he can smell her emotions, which causes a lot of fights. They're both young, they're inexperienced, they don't have much experience in the way of relationships or love or the world, and it's just a big, messy conglomerate of terribleness, and I love every minute of it for how real it is. In fact, I dare say that the best written relationship in the book series, in my opinion, as far as messiness and realness goes. Yeah, I know Gal's my favorite character, but him and Egwene's relationship doesn't hold a candle to Faile and parents, as far as I'm concerned. So Faile, second favorite character. Promise to tell you why. There you go. Same reasons I like Gowan. Really well written, really true to what the character would actually do in a lot of the instances, and not perfect in any way, shape, or form. All right, so press release says about Faile. Faile Basher, a Saldean hunter of the Horn, whose efforts to locate a treasured relic have led her to the Two Rivers. That treasured relic, folks, is the Horn of Elir. Unbeknownst to Faile, already found in the books and the show, so that's the same. Now, press release says she meets Perrin, or leads her to the Two Rivers, where we assume she meets Perrin. Now, in the book series, Perrin meets her in an inn while he's traveling with Moiraine and Lan when he rescues Gaul, an Aiel who becomes his best bud, like super bromance vibes the rest of the series, and then kills a ton of White Cloaks. Perrin killing people with an axe, it's Perrin. It's what he does for a good part of the books anyway. And she thinks that's interesting, so meets them the next day and kind of says, I'm coming with you folks because this is interesting, and I think you're going to lead me to the Horn of Elir. Introduces herself as Mandarb. Mandarb is Blade in the Old Tongue. Really cool, kind of like, amazing name for Heart of the Horn, and then she finds out that's Lance's name. Everybody kind of laughs at her, and she says, well, I've been called Faile before, and that kind of hits Perrin like a ton of bricks, because Faile means falcon, and there's some viewings about him and a falcon at this point, and he really didn't like that. But she tags along, and then her and Perrin form a relationship, especially later on when she's in trouble and Perrin comes to her aid. And then when Perrin goes to the Two Rivers to stop the White Cloaks from harassing his friends and family for things that he has been rumored to do. So there's all these rumors that he had killed a certain White Cloak and was the architect of a demise of a ton of White Cloaks, and then he's a Dark Friend. He goes to the Two Rivers to sort of clear his name in the effort to basically give himself up to save his friends and his family. Faile follows him. That's how she comes to the Two Rivers in the books. Now in the show, she's just going to be there. Considering where they're at and what has happened at the end of season 2, in the finale especially, where Perrin did the act that he's accused of in the books, the chances of him going to the Two Rivers to clear his name, he's probably not doing that. He's going there to give himself up so the White Cloaks don't hurt his friends and family. And meeting her there makes more sense than meeting her along the way. Because he meets her along the way, she's going to see broody, kind of scared Perrin, kind of trudge along to his fate, and he won't want much to do with her. But if he shows up and he causes a stir like he does in the books, she's going to find him interesting and kind of latch onto him. Maybe he'll lead her to the Horn, because that's kind of how it happened in the books. So I don't think personally it's a huge change, and considering where the story's at and how things are going, that's a great curveball to arc it back into where the books are. Because let's face it, folks, I have seen things that just scream perfect for the Battle of the Two Rivers scenes and that whole storyline, including word-for-word dialogue cut out of the books between Perrin and Faile, and I'm excited for that. So I'm pretty happy. All right, so this next character. Now we're getting into some differences, folks. Some big differences. So this is Bair. Now in the book, in the press release, this is Bair's the most respected member of the Taardad Aiel. Her authority and wisdom are held in higher regard than even the clan chief. Now, clan chief is Rhuarc. Along with the ability to channel the One Power, she has access to an even more mystical ability. Now, that more mystical ability, we'll talk about that first. For those of you who haven't read the books and you're still here, it's called Dream Walking. It's the ability to enter Teleran Rhuarc, the world of dreams that we've seen in the show a couple of different times. Manipulate it, do different things to it. You basically, depending on how much you believe in what you're doing, it becomes more real, more true, and you can do more things. Like Neo in the Matrix. It's basically the best way to describe it. So Dreamwalking is the thing they're talking about here. It's eventually taught to Egwene, and then Egwene teaches it to a few other people, and then you have more than just some of the Aiel wise ones in the dream. You have Egwene and Nynaeve and Elaine, and then eventually you have a few others like Swan and Lyanna and the Forsaken. Of course, they're in the world of dreams. Lanfear, that's her domain as far as anyone's concerned, and as far as I'm concerned too, it's her domain. Now, I'm going to read a little excerpt of a description of her in the books. Bair of the Hydo Sept of the Taardad Aiel. So, different sept, different clan already. She cannot channel, but she is a dreamwalker. She had Amis as an apprentice under her before Amis became a wise one. So, here's some changes here, folks. So, Taardad Aiel is where she is now. She's the eldest wise one. A very respected member of the Taardad Aiel, even more so than Rhuarc, the clan chief. So they changed clans, which to me, makes total sense because there's no way they're going to have all the clans that are in the books. We already knew that from the teaser trailer. They had less chairs to the clan chiefs than they had Aiel clans. So we know where they're trimming them down. They're cutting the fat there, so to speak. Not a big deal. This is the big difference, though. So in the show, in the press release, it says she can channel the one power. In the book, she cannot channel. So I'm wondering if they're going to kind of give her storylines of some of the other wise ones instead. So there's no real mention of Amis yet. Maybe she's going to take on Amis's role as well. I don't know, folks. These changes, I think, deserve a whole video of their own individually, and we're going to break them down because we're already sitting quite some time to this video, so I don't get too much into it. But just put the seed of thought in your head. Those are changes between the book and the show character, and we're going to talk about how that could affect the show in greater detail, 100% in one video, because that's a pretty big change as far as I'm concerned, and I'm interested to see how they're going to play it out. Again, I think it's because they're cutting and amalgamating. I think they're going to cram her character in with other characters and have her do other things, and she probably needs to be able to channel to do that, to take on the role of some of the other wise ones, because let's face it, there's less clans, there's going to be less wise ones, there's probably going to be less prominent wise ones as well. Yeah, so that's probably what that is. Now we have Melanie. So according to the press release, Melanie is a wise one of the Taardad Aiel. Despite not being able to channel, she's able to access more mystical power. Now this, again, there's a bit of difference here. So in the book series, Melanie is the Girad Sept of the Gaussian Aiel. So again, different clan, different sept. Makes total sense to make pretty much everybody Taardad, or at least a lot of them Taardad Aiel, because you can't be introduced to too much at once in the show, and they don't have the time or the ability or the budget to put all of them in there. So it totally makes sense. In the book series, she can channel. She is known for her temper and her above average strength and the one power. So not only can she channel, she's strong. She's super strong. In the show, she is not able to channel. So I'm wondering if they're going to take some of Melanie's storyline, some of Amis's storyline, and give it to Bair instead, and then maybe give Melanie someone else's storyline, something different. I'm not entirely sure what that could be, but I do know for a fact that we're going to see some major changes, at least in the way the Aiel work, because there's just too many of them. And there's too many sort of main Aiel in the book series. There's too many main wise ones. There's too many main clan chiefs. There's too many people that Rand and company interact with on a daily basis within the books to show in the show. It's just too much. So I'm wondering if maybe she's going to take over some of the other roles. Maybe she will take on some, like they had one wise one that can channel and that is going to be strong and that does a lot of the stuff that the wise ones can channel. Maybe one that can't, but still a dreamwalker. I don't know. Again, we're going to cover this in more in depth, and we'll walk through the whole storylines of these characters and see where we can fit things together in a more detailed video at a later date. But yeah, interesting to see. Now, Rhuarc, according to the press release, if I can find it here, where is it at? I've lost it. So yeah, it just talks about him being the clan chief of the Taardad Aiel, and that is what he is. So I don't think there's many huge changes to Rhuarc's character, other than the fact that the press release says that he is newly gone to Rhuarc. I don't believe he's newly gone to Rhuarc in the book series, at least not in the way that the press release is implying. So it might be a little more fresh in his mind, and they're going to use that to talk about it, which is totally fine. I don't think that's a major change, and I think that'll actually enhance the story a bit, to be able to have it fresh in his mind when he talks to Rand about it. Yeah, so again, no huge major changes from the press release description to Rhuarc's character in the books, other than the fact that this stunning German pop star is not Asmodean, which a lot of people kind of pegged it as. All right, so we're going to talk about this one last. So Melanie. Or sorry, not Melanie. I apologize. Melindra. Now, Melindra in the book series is quite a bit different than the Melindra in the press release, and I'm interested as to the hows and the whys. So, according to the press release, Melindra is a Malkieri survivor who was taken in and raised by the Taardad Aiel. That's all it says. It doesn't say if she's a maiden of the spear. It doesn't say anything else. I'm going to assume she's likely a maiden of the spear like she is in the books. But that there is a big one, because in the book series, she was an Aiel. She was not a Malkieri survivor. But she was a dark friend. And she actually cozied up to Mat, got close to him, and then tried to kill him. And she was in the employ of Samael, one of the Forsaken, because she tried to kill him with a dagger with nae'blis on it, the sign of Ilion, where Samael is sort of ruling in the book series. So, very small part in the books. Melindra was not a huge character, but kind of an important character to drive plot lines towards Ilion, because it was a very clumsy attempt, I think, at pointing Rand toward fighting Samael or going to Ilion, and he sort of kind of didn't do that right away. He did some other things instead. But the takeaways here is, in the book series, she's a dark friend, and she works for Samael, and she tried to kill Mat. And she is Aiel. In the show, it says that she's going to be a Malkieri survivor who was taken in and raised by the Taardad Aiel. I'm almost sure I know why they did this. And I'm not going to save it for a big deep dive video, because it's not a huge explanation, but I'm almost sure I know why they did this. So, all evidence that we have in our possession, with all of the leaks and all the things that are going on, points Mat to going to the White Tower first, and then on to Tenchiko with Nynaeve, Min, and Elaine, and meeting Tom there. That's pretty much a given. There is no evidence to suggest that Mat is in the Waste at any point whatsoever during the third season. He may be, because there's a whole lot of stuff we don't know. And there was a very brief period where Mat might have been in South Africa. The actor who plays Mat might have been in South Africa. And they were filming some Waste scenes there, but they're also filming some Tenchiko scenes there. So nothing I've seen indicates that he's in the Waste. People have been asking me, please tell me he's in the Waste. Please tell me he goes to Rhuarc. Please. I've seen nothing to indicate that. So let's, for a moment, go with the full presumption that Mat does not go to the Waste, because they're still trying to arc Mat's character back to where he's supposed to be because of the huge implications of recasting the character from season 1 to season 2, when one of the actors did not come back for episodes 7 and 8 of season 1. And they had to rewrite a bunch of stuff. It kind of, in my opinion, really, really hurt the show, and it might have been better, in my opinion, to just ignore the fact that this actor stopped playing Mat and put someone new in quickly and just keep the story. But they didn't do that. They wrote him out, and then they wrote him back in. So they're still trying to arc Mat back into a story. Like there's a lot of things going on here, and him being in Tenchiko sort of kind of does that in a good way, especially if they're combining with the Ebodar storyline for the books, which I think they are. There's a lot of evidence to support that. So if Mat's not in the Waste, Melindra becomes his love interest when he's in the Waste in the books, and they hang out. They're sleeping together. They're sort of kind of even living together within within the confines of how they are, and they become very, very close. And then she tries to kill him, and it's a plot device to kind of shift everybody towards Ilion and things that are going on, and show that she's dark friend. Dark friends are among the Aiel. Mat's not there. Melindra doesn't do that, because Melindra's not with Mat. And from everything I've seen, the only people that we know for sure go to the Waste are Moiraine, Lan, Rand, and Egwene. That's it, folks. We've seen no other evidence at all of anyone else that's been in the show so far going to the Waste, other than perhaps some of the Forsaken. So of the good guys, those are the ones that are going there. So Melindra does not necessarily have to be a love interest to somebody, but she has to have some way, shape, and form of forming a connection with somebody. So my guess is they made her a survivor of the Malkieri who joined the Aiel. When she sees Lan, she's either going to recognize him, recognize the Hidori, his leather headpiece that he wears. Or he will recognize her, or recognize something she's wearing, or recognize some element of her being Malkieri, and they will become close. And I think it will be Lan, maybe not romantically involved with Melindra, because I think he's kind of invested in Nynaeve at this point in the show. He's shown that. But I think it would be him nostalgic for his homeland, nostalgic for talk about his homeland, nostalgic for talk about the fall of his homeland, and gets close with Melindra very quickly because of that. They kind of trauma bond, and then she tries to kill him. And that scene, I think, will be her trying to kill him with the dagger from Ilian, or maybe not, maybe something else that they're pointing somewhere else, but I think she will try to kill him and reveal herself as a dark friend. So Lan will take the place of Mat there, because Mat's not in the waste. That's my guess. That's my take on it anyway. And again, I want to do this in a much deeper dive later on, but that's my initial thoughts on the whys and the hows, and I think it makes total sense. But I want to hear what you folks think down below. Now, initially, when I read this, I was surprised, and I was like, why would they do that? It makes no sense. And then I started thinking, oh yeah, Mat's probably not in the waste, because they didn't write him there because they need to write him in further into other storylines to progress his character, because he's lagged behind for the last 2 seasons because of everything that happened in season 1 and all the rewrites. And even Rafe Judkins has come out and said that, like, that hurt the show. That hurt the rewrites and stuff. They kind of are trying to veer back. So I'm guessing she's Malkieri to sort of entice Lan. That's my guess anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think it's very likely that's what's happening here, but I'm not 100%. Let me know what you think. And if you're there to tell me that Mat is in the waste, I've seen nothing. See nothing to indicate that. So this is the best example, or the best explanation I can come up for this. So let me know what you folks think in the comments down below. Either way, happy Wheel of Time Wednesday. I'm super pumped about this. I'm excited about the castings. And again, thank you so very much for sticking with me here to the very end. Here's to many more.